Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Euphoria and ecstasy. So I look at these two as these two emotions or feelings are the part that allows us to connect to our limitless self. So the part that actually can feel an expression or connection to our highest truth of who we can be, our highest potential. Now the trouble is, chemically in the body, we can't actually keep this emotion all day.
Nah.
Because we'd end up draining our body of resources, because you can't have this emotion just last in your body. It just doesn't happen, right? This is why people take ecstasy drugs. So they have it because it's giving you that chemical experience so people can actually feel really good. So someone touches you or you touch them. I've never had ecstasy, by the way. I've just been told what it's like. That you have this experience where every experience becomes accentuated to the nth degree. Now, after someone takes an ecstasy tablet, you go on a downer.
Yeah.
Right? So the body has to balance itself out. So the challenge of working with this is that this can be also a bypasser. Right? So we're looking for this drug. It's called absolute joy. It's not just joy, it's like the feeling that you just want to feel all the time. It's like having an orgasm all day, I guess. So how do we deal with this as an emotion? I think we get this limitless self, and then we've got this actual addiction to it. So it can be one of the biggest problems in society today is we're looking for something that's going to make us feel euphoric all the time. This is why people go and jump off buildings. They jump out of a plane. They bungee jump. They go downhill skiing. They're looking for the rush. And that rush that courses through your veins is amazing. People who go surfing and want to not just wave surfing, the big wave surfers. They're looking for this ultimate rush. People who want to be number one in their chosen sport, they get the euphoria of winning that championship, right? So I know I've won, competitions in sport, and you get this feeling, this absolute drug running through your body when you've won, when that siren's finished and you've actually come up on top, and then you're with your teammates and you're all hugging and you're just like, we did it. And there's this feeling, you can see it on photos. And that's why people chase it.
Yeah.
People chase it, and if we're chasing it, it turns into a drug that we can't get away from. So this is where we can have other emotions come up, like jealousy and rage, and all of these things pop up simply because we're chasing something that is not meant to stay in us permanently. It's a touch and a taste. Okay.
So you said it has to do with the unlimited self. So is that like when you feel euphoric and that kind of ecstasy feeling, your higher, like your unlimited self, you actually feel that because you feel invincible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you feel completely invincible. And it's an amazing feeling. You've experienced it, yeah?
Yeah.
And I have too.
Yeah.
And then we want to get to that feeling again. And then things are boring.
Yeah.
When you've experienced that absolute high, and then you're on the top of Mount Everest feeling, and then you're in the valley, and you're just like, I just want to get that high again.
Yeah, for sure. So how can that unlimited self be incorporated more into your day, though? Like, because, I guess it's kind of like a good feeling in a way, because you just believe in yourself so much in those moments, and you're just like, I can do anything. And then you go back into that kind of valley and you're like, I'm not really that good. Yeah. So I guess kind of like, taking that feeling of like, I can do what I want to do into like your everyday kind of life would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. And look, you see people who have that sort of euphoric or that level of confidence, and it's an overconfidence. And you don't know what they're like behind the scenes. You see them in life and you go, oh my God, that person looks like they could do anything at all. Yeah? And so how do we live that in our daily life? How do we experience creating a sense of euphoria or a sense of confidence in our life to have that feeling again? I think daily it's really difficult to just go and chase it without people going and doing drugs. This is why people do drugs. Right? Addicts love that euphoric feeling. They just want to be in it. So how do you do it without drugs? You experienced one of the techniques that we did in third year. Did you experience that feeling when you did the Eye of Horus, Eye of Ra, when I actually got people, because I had a couple of people in the academy, they were so high on the meditations that I did, they were just came home, and the person that they were living with, who is actually in the academy too, works with us, Laura, thought they had taken some drugs. And basically there's a natural form of meditation that we do in the academy, which is connected to the Eye of Horus and Eye of Ra, which actually gives you that euphoric feeling through meditation. So meditation is the safest way to get it in a routine, but you're not going to hit it all the time.
So you can't just be like, I'm just, I want to feel a bit of euphoria, I'm just going to do the meditation. Like, it might not work every time. So. No, exactly. And I think, we're looking for a state. And I know one thing that I found is that with working with people, that people use spirituality and personal development to get a euphoric feeling. Big mistake. Right? Because that can be the greatest diverter of all. Because when you are dealing with stuff that you've never done before, your problems come up. And you want to have the euphoric feeling again, so you just go and meditate and run away from the things that you need to do. For sure.
Right? So there's a big challenge to that euphoric feeling. It can take you away from life. So what we've got to learn to be able to do is actually take that into our daily routine of what we're here to do and be. Right? So if we can do that, then we've got the opportunity to not get stuck in, oh God, I wish I was flying a kite, I wish I was kite surfing, I wish I was water skiing, I wish I was doing some of these things that give me this feeling. And I remember the number of times I've taught so many people how to water ski, and you see the big smile on their face. They've gotten up and they're going around the wake, and it's amazing to watch them. And I get a high from someone else's new experiences. So we've got to learn to actually be more inquisitive. Kids get more euphoric feelings than adults do. Why?
Because they're just generally more connected?
Yeah. That's the complete 100% right answer, because we're more connected. So the more connected you become, the more euphoric you become on one level, and then it just becomes pretty normal. Right? I've been doing personal development for a really, really long time. So I put my hands on people when I was a healer, and they'd get this amazing euphoric feeling. I don't get that so much anymore, because I'm so used to having the experiences that I have.
So you kind of like, well, I guess, because it just happens so often, then it's not so special anymore when it...
That's right. So there's a catch-22, guys. If you keep hitting the spot where you've got the euphoric feeling over and over again, it's going to be what? Normal.
As if you went skydiving every day, eventually skydiving would be boring. Yeah. It'd be like, oh, this again.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Imagine the people taking people for their first experience.
They're like, oh,
And they're like,
go another
because
one.
none of that, I remember having my first experience skydiving. I was just like, I was jumping off the roof when I got down. I was just like, I want to go again. But the guy who took me, there was no excitement
Yeah.
in him at all.
Same with me. Oh, mine was pretty funny, but yeah, he was also not like, yeah, this is my job, so I do this every day.
Yeah, and this is what happens with things that we do on repeat all the time. So one thing that you can think about doing is actually doing new things, trying new things out, and not necessarily scary things, trying new things out and getting to that place where you get this thing called achievement. And achievement actually brings euphoria to you. So there's a really good understanding that if you feel like you're in a job or you're doing something that actually doesn't have a real purpose or a sense of achievement in you, you don't get that feeling very often.
Now I'm just starting to understand why I'm addicted to achievement.
Yeah, see?
So, yeah.
You get your feeling of euphoria, when you're doing stuff for us and it's worked, or when you've done stuff for us and it hasn't worked, right? What we've been doing in the academy, you get bummed out because it hasn't created the dopamine hit in your brain. And then when you do something, you go, oh my God, this was really good. Right, and I see that in you all the time. It's just like there's a really important thing that we are here to learn, which is fulfillment. And I spoke to you, this is your word.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you create fulfillment, you create euphoria and ecstasy in your brain. And each time we fulfill a certain role or a certain way in which we're approaching, we're learning something new and we achieve something, and then it fulfills us something from the inside. We start getting this beautiful brain hit that allows us to actually feel like we're something rather than nothing. And that's what connection's all about, is learning to build more frameworks in our brain, to expand how we think, to allow us to extend ourselves and get ourselves to a place of confidence. And that comes through two things. It comes through repetition and it comes through achievement and comes through fulfillment. So when I think about what I have done in my life, I could have been in a job where I was in the IT industry, and I had this euphoria when I realised that I was good at it. Man, I never forget the day I was in Canada in a meeting full of beardy people, old wrinkly guys, and I was 25 or 26 at the time, and I realised I was smart for the first time in my life. I'll never forget that feeling. I just, in my head, you are smart, Jason. They're all listening to you. And I was like, oh my God, I am. And I had this, and then it dropped away, and then I wanted something else, a new challenge, because the challenge was met from my own psyche. And then I wanted to have something that had more meaning, and doing healing work was that. And then I had this euphoric feeling when I would help people. And I still have the euphoric feeling when people learn something from me, when they break through. So these days my euphoria is actually for other people's wins, not so much my own.
Wow.
Things have changed.
Do you still have situations where it's for your own?
Far less than others. So I'm very, very lucky in the position that I'm in, Ophelia, because at least someone has broken through a barrier that they've never broken through every week. Right? So someone has gotten over the line for something every single week, and I get that euphoric hit that says, oh my God, look at what you've done. And so my euphoria these days is actually other people's transformations and liberation to who they're meant to be. You know, last week, I think it was last week, where I told you a whole bunch of things about your life. And you were penny dropping, and I was in euphoria.
Because I'm like, I understand it now.
Yeah, right. And so the beauty of helping people, guys, if you love helping people and you're in the helping industry, you know this feeling of euphoria that you get when your clients win. When your clients win and they've learnt a technique that you have shared and you are not involved, that's even more euphoric for me. It's like, I wasn't even involved in this, and someone got over the line with the technique that I've shared. That just gives me such a buzz, because I'm like, okay, this stuff works. I'm able to hand over, because I used to be the euphoria giver. When I was a healer, I'd just provide it, and people, I'd be sitting there just going, okay, next, boom, massive endorphin explosion. They walk out the door just going, oh my God, I never experienced anything in my life. There was a guy, Eric, and this may sound a little bit out of the zone for any of you guys listening right now, but this is what I did for him the first time I met him. He looked at me and I said, do you mind if I change my face into your mum? His mum had passed away, and he said, sure. I changed my face into his mum, and he looked at me and he said, that is the most amazing experience I've ever had in my entire life. Now, him saying that was my euphoria, that he had a moment that he will never ever forget in his life. And this is what I know when people come and experience the work that we do. I had a guy telling me, you can't market extraordinary things. Right, so listeners, you're probably saying this guy's full of shit right now, and this is the thing, hun, is that it really sucks is that the people who have had absolutely extraordinary experiences with me, I can't market because it seems too real, too good to be true, or too real. That's actually euphoria and ecstasy, if you think about it. Too good to be true moments.
Because you're like, well, when is it going to go wrong? When is it, like, that's surely fake. Like, yeah,
you know, and I can understand, and anyone who's listening right now who has heard this and gone, that's bullshit, 100% it's bullshit until you experience it yourself, and then you can never ever unexperience something. You've seen me a bit distorted, haven't you? You know, doing the techniques in the academy where I've sort of changed myself, and you've gone, oh my God, he looks different.
Yeah, and you know, like, sometimes I still like distrust these things, and I'm like, oh, surely that can't work. And then you prove it again in a way, like in some different situation. I'm like, oh well, Jason does know what he's doing.
Yeah. Remember when you tell the listeners the experience when you had your migraine, you were about to drive home with it. Yeah.
So I was getting a migraine towards the end of my work day, and I was having this really big headache. I felt like, okay, on the way out, I probably need to go to the bathroom and throw up. And I told Jason as we were saying goodbye, and he's like, oh, do you mind if I just use a quick technique on you? I was like, no, go for it, like anything that helps. And he just, I don't know, he touched my head and did something, and my migraine was gone in like 5 seconds. And I was like, okay, I was obviously very happy, but I was just like, that is so weird. That's like the craziest experience. And then the whole way home, I thought, oh, it's going to come back any second. Now I was like, no, it didn't come back. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and that's one of those moments where you just like got this euphoric sort of thing where you're just like, oh my God, what the hell happened then? What was the other one that I did? It was a week after.
That was a morning where I was just really, really dizzy all the time. Yeah, every time, like, I just felt like I had, I don't know, I felt like when you were really, really drunk and everything just spins. But yeah, all the time. So, and then you fix that too in like, I don't know, a few minutes.
Yeah.
So,
you know, and these are the moments that we have when we have experiences in development where something's out of our range or our level of comprehension, and quite often this gives us this opportunity of hope or realization that there's so much more than meets the eye than you know, having to go and take a headache tablet to fix something, or go and get some to fix your dizzies. There's so many other ways at which we are so able to harness a brilliance inside of us that allows this euphoric and ecstasy type feeling to be naturally built upon us. And I know there are people who will go and do ayahuasca, they'll go and do every single thing to activate the DMT in your pineal gland, all frog serum and all of this sort of stuff. And I just know that we can build all of this stuff naturally in our psyches if we put the effort in to trying something completely new. And this is why I know our techniques work really, really differently, because I've proven them over and over again. The thing is, guys, is that you've got to remind yourself that do you want ecstasy to happen all over through your life? Because there's a disorder in Chinese medicine. They call it over happy, and it's bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's where your body does not know how to regulate its serotonin levels in the body. So what happens is your body actually goes on a high with no guard, and then it goes on a low with no guard.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why it's so important to be balanced, and it's good to have these experiences, and I have them in a very very calming, very balanced way these days. And I think we need to learn how to let go of the need for them, because they just happen all of a sudden, don't they? We can't go, okay, I'm going to have an ecstasy moment unless we're having a tablet,
Yeah.
right? Which is a choiced one where you actually don't have control over the aftermath.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Cool. So anything else that you would like to add to the whole ecstasy and euphoria conversation?
Well, I guess the thing is, stop chasing this elusive drug. Start looking at your life and start building a life of purpose. Because if you start building a life of purpose, you're going to have more euphoria in your life anyway. Right? If you don't have purpose in your life, you're dying while you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are doing jobs that they don't like, and most people are too scared to take a chance on themselves to do what they were born here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we want to have this ecstasy and euphoria to be more consistent, it's actually trying to find out what our purpose is. And most people don't know how to find that. So what we do in our academy is we help people unravel themselves so we can find out what they're here to do. But ultimately, euphoria comes from who you are, not what you're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
Doing part's just the doing part. It's who you are that creates the euphoria. And the more you can be yourself, and the more that you can live and breathe who you are and do what makes sense to that who, then you will have more euphoric based moments, and they won't necessarily be always about you. You'll end up having maybe some experiences like me, and I know a lot of listeners have had this by helping other people. You get euphoric, you get happy for other people, right? Happy for other people's wins, happy for other people's successes, happy for other people's transformations and changes. So guys, find your purpose, find what you're here for. Ask this question, why am I here, every day? See if you can get some different answers. And if you do want some help to find your purpose, this is what our academy does. It helps you find it.
Beautiful.
All right, so guys, if you like this podcast on euphoria and ecstasy, I'd love it if you could like and share this one to your friends. You might not necessarily want to give it to someone who's stuck on the drugs, because they're not going to like what they hear right now. But hand it to people. If you would like to see us doing this podcast, our podcast website is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademypodcast.com. I'd love it if you'd like and share this. We have a Facebook page, Wellness Breakthrough Evolution, which you can jump on as well. I'd love it if you do want to have a chat to us. Jump on our Wellness Breakthrough Academy page. There's a way in which you can book an appointment to come and catch up to see if what we do can help you.
All right. Thank you, Jason.